talk about where we are with this debacle with former RNC chairman and former Mississippi governor, as well as founding partner of the BGR group. Haley Barbour is with us. Governor, it's good to see you, sir. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Maria.
So, I mean, the House had 2 tries at it. As someone said to me, 2 bites at the apple. Is this unusual that the Senate is going to be delaying this and coming back after the July 4th recess to get this done before the August recess?
It always amazes me that the news media fails to remind people that it took the Democrats 14 months to pass ObamaCare. And they had 60 votes in the Senate most of that time. So the idea that you can get this done quickly, you can repeal ObamaCare very quickly, but you can't replace it quickly successfully. It takes time. Senator McConnell, I don't blame him. He's got other business that needs to be tended to. The budget, nominations, tax reform, things that are really every bit as important as this. So he wants to get through with it where he can move on to those. Yeah. But it shouldn't be surprising to anybody that the Republicans have been working for 5 months. It's something that took the Democrats 14 months to do when they had bigger majorities.
No, I think it's a really good point. I guess the reason that people are worried or, focused on it so much is because this piece of the president's agenda has to get done for everything else to flow. So the market wants tax reform. People think that's going to move the needle on economic growth, and yet you can't get the tax reform until you get the legislation on health care done.
And I think that's why Senator McConnell wanted very much to get this done before the 4th of July. He had a good artificial deadline, but just didn't get there. I do think one thing that has happened this week to the advantage of those who want to replace Obamacare with a better system, the scoring done by CBO shows that the savings from the Senate bill is in excess of $200 billion in 10 years, more than $200 billion more than the House bill. That gives the senators a good deal to work with to try to close the gaps, to try to go to the states that are concerned about whether this would be funded or that would be funded. So I think that is going to make the dealing to try to get there and still have a very large savings, bigger than the House. I think that's a positive point.
Hey, Governor, nice to see you.
Thanks.
Do you think Majority Leader McConnell has an interest in getting the vote done, even if it's a no vote, just so they can move on and they're just not continually dealing with this?
Well, I can't speak for that. I think what he's trying to do is get it done, get it over with, and thought maybe by having a forced deadline that they could get the votes, get it over with. But I don't think that McConnell has committed himself to saying this is the first thing we're going to do when we come back. I suspect he's thinking we're going to start working on how we can use the scoring that CBO has given us to see if we can resolve the issues that are bothering these senators who have concerns. I think that is the right strategy. Now, when he would want to have a vote, I guess he'd want to have a vote whenever he's got 51.
But I want to ask you about Berkshire Hathaway CEO Warren Buffett, and he's now weighing in on this. He went on a PBS interview, and he called the reform a tax cut for the wealthy. Listen to this, Governor. Got to get your reaction.
If the bill that passed the House with 217 votes had been in effect this year, I would have saved, I can give you the exact figure, I would have saved $679,999, or over 17% of my tax bill. There's nothing ambiguous about that. I will be given a 17% tax cut, and the people it's directed at are couples with $250,000 or more of income. You can entitle this, Relief for the Rich Act.
Right. Well, this from the guy who doesn't have a salary. He's got all his wealth tied up in Berkshire Hathaway stock, rather, and as a result, he's not paying income tax. He's paying a tax of 20%, just for the stock that he owns. So it's apples and oranges.
Well, actually, I'm glad he said it, because hopefully it'll cause some people in the news media to focus on the fact that Obamacare contained a huge tax increase. As Warren Buffett says, his taxes went up more than 17% because of a hidden income tax,
Yeah,
a
that's a good way to
Medicare
look at it.
tax.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. Yeah.
And why should we have, I think if you look at the real numbers, it's about a 20% tax increase. If you take his taxes minus 17% and then add back, it's about a 20% addition to what his taxes will be, not just a 17% cut from what they are now. At any rate, nearly a 20% tax increase hidden from the American people. The news media never reported it.
Governor, it is rolling back a tax increase is what it is when he's talking about the 3.8% investment tax on income investment tax, which is what Buffett is talking about. And why doesn't he just shut his yap? He's a billionaire, and then he's talking about people who make into the six figures. Another thing, they're rolling back, they're getting rid of the tax on medical devices, which destroyed about 29,000 jobs in this country over a 3-year period that stifles innovation. He's talking about getting rid. People mocked the fact that the Republicans want to get rid of the tax on tanning salons. How about going to people in the hinterlands in the South who own tanning salons and had to foot the bill on a double-digit excise tax that was hidden in Obamacare? That put people out of business. They want to get rid of that. They can mock all of this all they want to, but it's meant to help create jobs in this country.
Yeah, how about the Buffett rule? Anybody making $1 million to pay more taxes? Where's his Buffett rule? He doesn't have any income that he's getting taxed on. It's total hypocrisy.
I know, you put a microphone on the guy and he can't stop.
I hope y'all will report it so that the public understands Obamacare was a gigantic increase equivalent in the income tax. That's what Buffett's talking about.
Yeah. Do you think they'll get this done and then get tax reform done soon after? Governor, what do you think? Are you worried about the timeline?
Look, I was in the White House the last time we did tax reform. It took more than 2 years. Things that are complex and controversial don't get done fast. But the sooner we can get started on tax reform, the better. And I think there is a huge appetite like there was back in '85 and '6. Maria, I'll remind you, Ronald Reagan went on TV in the spring of 1985,
right,
made his pitch for tax reform. What was the Democrats' response? Danny Rostenkowski, chairman of the Ways and Means Committee in the House, went on and said, Mr. President, we want tax reform too.
There you go.
Can you imagine that in this Congress from the Democrats?
No. All right, Governor, great insights from you as always. Thank you, sir.